Panamint City isn't a place you stumble into. You earn it climbing into the mountains, where the air thins and history feels close enough to touch. This canyon doesn't feel like California. It feels hidden, like it's keeping a secret. And once it did, a town built on ore, luck, and pure nerve. One chimney still stands, like a finger pointing at the past, proof that people once hauled heavy dreams up here and tried to turn rock into a future. During the rush, this place pulsed saloons, mills, arguments, laughter. Then the pulse faded, and the mountains took the noise back. The road to Panamint City isn't a road at all. It's a reminder this town survived because people were willing to suffer for a chance at gold. Then you see it wood, metal, stone, arranged by human hands. Not a myth, not a legend, a real place that once tried to be permanent. Gold fever doesn't start with a jackpot. It starts with a hint, one glittering rumor that turns exhaustion into hope and strangers into competitors. Panamint City wasn't built on flat land. It clung to the canyon like it knew it had no right to exist here, and decided to exist anyway. That chimney is the town's last signature brick laid by hand, meant to last forever. It's still here, even though the boom lasted only a moment. In the middle of desert country, water feels like a miracle. For miners up here, it wasn't just comfort, it was power for mills and a reason to believe. A foundation is a promise someone tried to keep. These stones are footprints, outlines of rooms where people cooked, argued, and planned a future on a gamble. Panamint City fought the mountains every day. And sometimes the mountains answered floods and storms tearing through the canyon like a reminder of who's in charge. In the 1870s, Panamint City was a fever dream. Rumors of rich strikes, pulling people into a canyon that didn't care if they lived or not. Thousands came to a place with no easy road in or out. That's what gold does. It convinces you the impossible is temporary. Up close, ore doesn't look like a fortune. It looks like a question: how much is inside, and how much of your life will it cost to get it out? A mill was the town's engine, turning stone into paychecks. Now the gears are still, like a clock that stopped mid-second. This wasn't a town with sidewalks and squares. It was a town built on steep edges, where even walking to work felt like a daily negotiation. Every boomtown needed a saloon somewhere to trade stories for whiskey and pretend tomorrow was guaranteed. Up here, the music is gone, but the shape remains. Everything came in the hard way, by mule, by pack, by stubbornness. A single misstep could cost supplies, or a life. Down below is desert heat. Up here, winter can bite. Panamint City lived in that tension between extremes, always paying the price for being so high and so far. Before anyone got rich, someone tested rock in the fire, waiting for numbers, for proof. In Panamint City, hope often began in a handful of dust. A few stakes in the ground could change a life. Lines were drawn fast, because in a gold rush, tomorrow belongs to whoever gets there first. Somebody up here wrote home and tried to make it sound normal. But between the lines was the truth. I'm far, I'm tired, and I'm still chasing it. The canyon keeps receipts. High on the rocks are flood lines, silent proof that water can arrive like a weapon and take a town apart in minutes. A boomtown store meant coffee, nails, rope life support in the wilderness. Up here, the main street was whatever flat rock you could stand on. Broken glass is a small thing, but it's honest. It says people drank, celebrated, argued, then left so fast the ground kept their fragments. At night, the canyon closes in. A lantern doesn't just make light, it makes courage, turning a cold mountain dark into something you can survive. A stamp mill used to pound the canyon all day. Metal against rock, hope against reality. Now the only echo is in your head. Rust is what happens when time finally touches everything. Up here, the metal didn't disappear, it just slowly turned back into the mountain. A house without walls still feels like a decision someone chose this spot, this view, this life. The frame remains like a sentence missing its words. A gold pan is simple, just a bowl and patience. But it carries a dangerous idea, that the next swirl might change everything. This canyon can feel like a doorway that closes behind you. It's beautiful, but it's not friendly, exactly the kind of place a gold rush would dare to call home. Mornings up here don't feel gentle. The cold hits fast, the air feels thin, and you understand why every day in Panamint City was a test. Up here, Even a plank of wood had a story hauled on a brutal trail, paid for with sweat, turned into shelter one nail at a time. A mine entrance looks small until you stand in front of it. Then you feel the bargain. Step into the dark and trade safety for the chance of luck. Panamint City wasn't just remote, it was suspended. A whole community balanced on terraces, as if the mountain could shake its shoulders and let it all fall. In Surprise Canyon, shadows arrive early. The light disappears behind rock walls, and you can imagine lanterns flickering people trying to stretch the day. Trash becomes archaeology fast in a ghost town. A tin can is proof of dinner, of hunger, of ordinary life trying to happen in an extraordinary place. You expect a place like this to feel haunted. Instead, it feels honest, just wind, water, and stone. And the absence where voices used to be. Boomtowns were built on risk. People hid what they could: money, letters, maybe a little gold. And sometimes the safest thing was what no one ever came back to open. Boomtowns ran on information: who struck gold, who lied, who arrived with money. Up here, rumors traveled faster than supplies. Before gold became profit, it was labor hammer strikes, cracked knuckles, and the stubborn belief that the next piece of rock would finally pay back the pain. In a place this remote, one broken trail changes everything. When the canyon cuts the path, it cuts the town's lifeline too. At night, Panamint City feels farther from the modern world than it really is. Under this sky, you can almost hear how small the boom always was. A boardwalk is a small luxury flat ground in a rough world. These planks once carried boots and hurry. Now, they carry only time. The same water that helped run the mills could also destroy them. In Surprise Canyon, the line between blessing and disaster was always thin. A doorway without a door still feels like an invitation. It frames the wilderness outside and reminds you the town was always one gust away from disappearing. Mining is hard rock and soft hope. The rock never cared. The hope did all the work, pulling people higher, deeper, farther. In a rush, a town is made of strangers, people who share tools, rumors, and danger. For a while, that's enough to feel like community. A stove tells you where a family gathered. Cold and silent, it feels like the town's hearth went out and no one came back to relight it. Somewhere there were ledgers who owed what, who bought supplies, who struck it lucky. The paper is gone, but the debt of effort is still visible in the ruins. Panamint City burned bright fast, like a match in the wind, brilliant for a moment, then gone, leaving only the smell of smoke in the story. Imagine building a life with this view, beauty on one side, danger on the other. The people here chose the height because the gold was higher. Ghost towns aren't only about miners. Sometimes you find a small toy and realize families lived here, kids laughed here, the canyon held more than work. A laundry line is a quiet detail, but it's powerful. It means someone expected to stay long enough to wash a shirt and hang it in the mountain sun. You can almost hear it, the steady knock of pick on stone. That sound built Panamint City, one stubborn swing at a time. In a place like this, water was currency. A dented canteen could mean the difference between a hard day and a dangerous one. An assayer's scale measured more than ore. It measured dreams, turning a handful of rock into a number that could start a stampede. Surprise Canyon is a door you walk through, and once you're inside, everything feels more intense, light, cold, effort, and the weight of history. Some boomtowns left cemeteries behind. Panamint City mostly left questions: how many made it out, how many didn't, and how quickly the canyon erased the details. A broken window still does its job, it frames a view. Through it, you see the same mountains they saw, and for a second, the past feels present. Not everything that shines is pay dirt. Quartz can sparkle like a promise, and still leave you broke, tired, and too deep to quit. Light was rationed in the mountain's daylight. Lantern oil, warmth. People measured time in shadows, and tried to make every hour worth the climb. In gold country, everyone searches for a shortcut. Faster trail, richer vein, easier life. Up here, shortcuts often meant injuries, or worse. You can't see the records anymore, but you can see where they used to be. In a boomtown, even paperwork carried the weight of survival. Nails are small, but they built everything: homes, shops, dreams. Now, they're bent and scattered, like the town's blueprint got shaken loose. After storms, the canyon can roar. It's beautiful, until you remember this same force once ripped through the town and carried pieces of Panamint away. An empty shelf is a quiet heartbreak. It means somebody owned things here, small necessities, and then had to decide what was worth carrying out. In still water, the canyon looks peaceful, like it never hurt anyone, but the reflection hides what it can do when the rains come hard. A bottle is a message from ordinary life, thirst, celebration, boredom, left behind. It feels like someone set it down for a second and never returned. Somebody ate lunch here and went back to work like it was just another day. That's the strange thing about gold rushes. Even miracles needed schedules. Panamint City didn't die from one thing. It ran out of time. Floods, distance, cost, and the moment when the gold wasn't worth the mountain anymore. Some pieces of a town refuse to quit. A solid beam can outlast the boom, outlast the men who cut it, and still hold the shape of a room. In remote towns, storage was strategy. A canyon alcove could be a pantry, a safe, a secret, anything that kept you alive another week. Isolation isn't romantic when you need news. Up here, the mail didn't just bring letters, it brought proof that the world still remembered you. At night, the wind moves through these ruins like a visitor. It doesn't break anything, it just reminds you the town is no longer sealed from the wild. In places this remote, the map lives in your head. One wrong turn can turn a hike into a problem, and that was true for miners too. This was the center where people traded supplies, news, and courage. In a boom town, the center isn't a plaza. It's wherever hope gathers. History isn't only big events. Sometimes it's two nails in a beam, proof that someone tried to hold their life together with whatever they had. The town stopped, but the canyon didn't. Rock falls, water cuts, seasons turn slowly, rewriting Panamint City, until only the strongest pieces remain. Even the name feels remote. Panamint City, like a rumor that got stuck in the mountains and never fully came back down. One cabin still stands enough to feel personal. You can imagine a coat on a hook, boots by the door, and a tired person believing this place would last. In abandoned rooms, light becomes a storyteller. It shows every scratch, every particle, every hint that people once moved through here. Evening makes the ruins feel gentler. But the quiet is sharp, because you know this town didn't fade slowly. It vanished the moment the mountain stopped paying. In places like this, dust becomes visible, turning sunlight into a moving map of time. It's the canyon's way of showing what's left. A brick is ordinary until it's the last witness. One piece of the chimney holds an entire era. Ambition, heat, labor, and the dream of gold. Panamint City runs on mountain time, now slow, quiet, and indifferent. The canyon keeps breathing, even when the town is only a memory. Gold rush towns are built on speed, fast money, fast promises, fast endings. What remains is quieter. The proof that people tried, and the mountain decided. Panamint City doesn't shout its story. You have to imagine it: voices on the terraces, lanterns in the dark, and 1,000 lives balanced on a rumor of gold. Panamint City was built in the mountains on the promise of gold. When the promise broke, the town didn't move, people did, leaving the canyon to keep the rest.